Well, hello there, ye faithful few, and welcome back to DMS Adventures, where, like it or not, we're talking about a cot. Yeah, so if you're still with us after that intro, you're either a member of ye faithful few or you're interested in a cot. If you're a member of ye faithful few, thanks for joining us again. You are the best subscribers on YouTube. And if you're just checking in for the cot, we'd like to invite you to be a member of ye faithful few. We do these review videos, we do adventure videos, and just some general silly videos from time to time as well. So we would love to have you subscribe and become another member of ye faithful few. Well, that's enough of all that. Let's talk about a cot. So when we go car camping, we like to take a cot. I like to be up off the ground and have something a little more comfortable, and I had terrible luck with air mattresses. So the cot we typically use is the Disco Bed Cot. Now that cot is a beast. It has a load rating of like 500 pounds. If you buy two, you can bunk them together, and that always works out great for us. I love those cots. There's nothing really wrong with them. There's just two things that work against them. One, because they're beasts, they are super heavy, like around 35 pounds a piece. And they also just take a little too long for my laziness to put up and to take down. So when I went looking around for things, I saw that Helinox actually had a cot. Helinox makes one of the most popular backpacking chairs. It's super lightweight and it's relatively comfortable for what it is. So when I saw that they made cots that may or may not be used for backpacking, I checked that out too. They have two different varieties. The first one is called the Helinox Cot 1. That cot comes in at $300. It weighs about 5 pounds. The load rating on it is pretty impressive at 320 pounds. It's 74.8 inches long and 26.8 inches wide. And the packed up dimensions are 21.3 inches by 6.3 inches. The material that you actually lay on is made of polyester, and the frame is a DAC aluminum. And that cot utilizes 3 legs across the bottom. The second cot that they offer is called the Helinox Cot Lite. That comes in at $250, which is $50 less than the bigger one. And the weird thing about that is it's cheaper and it's more lightweight. It comes in at 2 pounds and 13 ounces. At 2 pounds, 13 ounces, that's almost backpackable if you want to kind of sacrifice a couple other things to have a luxury item like a cot that gets you up off the ground. Now its load rating is 265 pounds. It's 73 inches long, 23.5 inches wide. The sleeping area is made of a ripstop nylon, and the frame itself is just made out of, it says, aluminum. Now that design actually has 4 legs underneath it. So it's interesting that it's lighter weight, cheaper, and has 4 legs versus 3. But it seems like most items that Helinox makes, that $300 and $250 is pretty steep. And I wasn't even sure I'd like the idea of this kind of a cot to spend that kind of money on it up front. So where else do you go when you don't know where to look for something? Amazon. So there I came across this cot that I'm going to show you today. It is the Go2Gether lightweight camping cot. I just think these names are funny. You got the G4Free stuff, you got the Get Out Gear stuff, and now Get2Gether stuff. So this cot comes in at 4 pounds, 2 ounces, which is kind of right between those two Helinox cots. Its load capacity is 264 pounds, so right in line with that lightweight Helinox cot. It's 74.8 inches long by 26.4 inches wide, so right in there with that larger Helinox cot. And its pack dimension is 21'6" by 6.3 inches. The sleeping area is made out of a ripstop polyester, which I guess is a thing, and the frame is made out of 70-75 aluminum. And this cot uses the 3-leg design like that larger Helinox cot. So similar specs to the Helinox, but this cot comes in at only $70. So now, let me show you how this all goes together. So here we go with the 4-pound get-together cot. Comes in a very nice sack. We get the materials out of here. See, you got some connectors down the side, or down the back side, and a little handle there. This is pretty much normal for this sort of thing, reasonable quality. Then we got the sleeping material, 2 aluminum poles, and then 3 legs. Now, one thing I like about this is that it can be done in kind of tight quarters, which was a little bit of a problem with the disco bed. So the poles are bungeed together. Just get those started off. Then there is a flap here on the whole end, and I'll show you what that is for in a second. So you just start feeding this through. Now there are these openings that do make it a little time consuming to get this pull through, but there's a reason for those being there that will become apparent in short order. So that flap that is at the both ends is where the pole is supposed to sit in so that it doesn't come out the other end. Feed this through the rest of the way, then when you get to the end, you just gotta work that flap over the pole. Something else to note that's helpful is they do have the directions for how you're supposed to put it together, the load capacity, and the components that should be with it on the back of the sleeping area. So now let's put the other one together. Now that the poles are in the sleeves for the cot, the next thing you do is take the legs. They have these handy arrows here on the bar and here on the plastic piece to make sure you put this in the right orientation. And then I believe the Helinox cots use this contraption as well. Here's the contraption on the leg that tensions the fabric. Got these 2 silver buttons here. Press those to open. There are these little plunging buttons here that you can push in, and they fit into these metal sockets. The other end has a shape for the bar. So you go into the openings in the material, put that in like so, get the other one just resting on here. When you're ready, you pull this and it actually tensions the material and you'll hear it lock in. You should hear 2 clicks. Get the middle one. And the end one. Now that that's all in, you're done. Just flip this over. And here is your cot. Like I said earlier, the capacity or the rating for this is 264 pounds. I'm 200 on a bad day. To use an engineering term, there is a camber in my deck. So the cot isn't laying quite flat on it, but seems okay. Relatively comfortable and relatively stable. The teardown process is equally simple. Just flip her over, push those 2 buttons, it releases the tension. Then remove the legs, slide the pole out, fold up the material, usually just a fold in half once, fold in half again. And this leaves you at about the length of the stuff sack. And just stick poles on, undo the legs. Actually, typically we'll just clip those back into place. Then once you got everything together, roll her up. And then it actually goes relatively easily back into the bag. There you go. So for me, this is a reasonable amount faster to put up than the disco beds, and it is way faster to take down than the disco beds. At 4 pounds versus 35 pounds, and just with the form factor, it's a lot easier to pack up. They take up a lot less room when we were getting ready to go on a car camping adventure. Would I use this for backpacking? No. At 4 pounds, it is not worth it. I don't need to be off the ground quite that much. Now that Helinox at 2 pounds 13s, that's borderline. But for quick adventures, when I don't want to spend a lot of time setting up the inside of the tent, these are fantastic options. And I say these because I did buy 2 of them, and Rugged Mountain Mister and I used them on our Mr. Daddy camping trip number 2. They worked very well. We had no issues with them, and it was nice to have those set up super fast. One concern with these cots is that the material that you sleep on may not last as long, may stretch too much. That is a valid point. However, I would typically be putting a sleeping mat on top of these cots to where I think the weight distribution would work out better for the material and it wouldn't stretch quite as badly. On my trip with Mister, I used the Climate Static V sleep pad on top of the cot and it was pretty comfortable. But that is all I have for you today, the Go2Gether lightweight camping cot. If you have any questions at all about this cot, just leave me the question down in the comments and I'll be sure to get you an answer as fast as I can. So I want to thank you so much for watching. Sorry the Rugged Mountain siblings weren't in this episode, but I appreciate you tuning in anyway. Hey, you all, have a great day.